Hello, and welcome to 5 Minute Math. Today we are looking at the sixth grade concept of multiplying and dividing positive rational numbers. This is 6.3e Readiness Practice, the advanced version. If you are interested in exploring the 6.3e Readiness Practice for the intermediate or proficient versions, or the Readiness Practice for any other standard, you can find those by using the link in the video description. So we have a construction worker, needs to pour concrete for a rectangular slab. And we've got slabs that are 4.5 meters long, 2.5 meters wide. And then take a look, we've got a cubic meter cost. So the slab needs to be 1/5 of a meter thick. So really we're talking about a rectangular prism. So let me kind of represent that right here with this. All right, so we're going to kind of pretend this is our concrete slab. And we've got 1/5 of a meter thick, so that's going to be my height. And then I've got 4.5 meter, or 4 1/5, excuse me, that meters long, and then 2.5 meters wide. All right, so I need to figure out, first off, what is the volume that we're dealing with here? And then I need to calculate that by the 75.5, 75 and 50 cents for each of those liters. So let's see what I've got here. I need to change these. I'm going to go ahead and change these into decimals. Just going to make my life a lot easier. So let's do 4 1/5 equals 4, and then 1/5 is the same as 2/10. 2.5 equals 2.5, and then 1/5 is the same as 2/10. All right, so I just need to multiply these three. Doesn't really matter the order. So I'm going to multiply 2.5, because remember, my volume equals length times width times height, or the base times height. So I'm going to have to multiply all three. We do the bottom two first. Okay, so that's going to be 50 is what it's going to look like, but I've got 2 digits behind the decimal, right? So I have 2 digits behind the decimal here. So really it's a 0.5. It's 0.50. So then I want to take my 4.2 and I want to multiply that by 0.5. And then that's going to give me 10. That's going to be 21. And since it's 2 digits behind the decimal, there's 2 digits behind the decimal. So really it's 2.1. Okay, so the volume equals 2.1 cubic meters. Now, that's not the question. The question is, it costs $75.50 per cubic meter of concrete. So now I need to multiply that 75.5 times my 2.1. I'm just going to ignore the decimals at this point. That's going to be a 10. That's a 10, 11. That's going to be 14, 15. We'll add the decimals back in at the end. So 5, 5, 8, 5, 1. I've got 2 digits behind the decimal. I need 2 digits behind the decimal. There's my final cost. If we go down to the penny, we can say the total cost is, and let's get our $158.55. All right. For our next problem, we have a rectangular garden, and we can just get a real quick garden shape here. And we can say that it is 8.7 meters long, 4.2 meters wide, and we want to put a fence, and it costs $12.50 per meter. All right. Well, the perimeter here, remember, equals double the length plus double the width, because it's not just 8.7 plus 4.2. I have to double each of those. So that means I'm going to double 8.7 and add that to double 4.2. All right, so Double 4.2 is easy because there's no need to regroup or anything, right? That's going to be 8.4. If I double 8.7, that's going to get double the 8 is going to give me 16. Double the 0.7 is going to give me 1.4. So that's going to be 17.4. And then if I just add my decimals, it's going to be 0.8. Add my whole number, 17 and 8 gets me 25. All right, so I kind of do that mentally. 25.8 meters, and I need 1250 per meter. So that I'm going to have to multiply. 25.8 times 12.5. I'm just going to drop that 0 off the 1250. This is a 3 by 3. So it's going to act just like a 3 by 2. I'm just going to need, on that third row, I'm just going to need to put 2 zeros in there. So that's going to be 40. That's 25, 29. That's 10. That's 12. Get rid of those. That's going to be 16, 10, 11, and that's 5. Make sure everything's lined up. Then on this third row, since it's starting in the 100 spot, I need to put 2 zeros, so my answer starts in the 100 spot. Then I'm just going to copy down 258 since I'm multiplying by 1. So 0, that's 15. That's going to be 10, 12. That's 10, 12 again. All right, I've got 2 digits behind the decimal, 2 digits behind the decimal. So if we go down to the decimal, if I don't have to buy in whole units, if I can buy, decimals of a fence, which it doesn't say whether we can or can't, so we are assuming we can. We'll go ahead and get down to that decimal. The fence costs, and then we've got our $322.50. So that will be our answer for this one. For our third problem, we've got a bakery. Now, it has so many pounds of flour, and each loaf of bread requires 1 1/4 pounds. Okay, so if I'm going to draw a diagram to represent this, my total is how many pounds of flour I have. I need to divide that into groups of 1 1/4. The question is how many groups can I get? And this one does say full loaves of bread, so I'm not interested in a remainder. I just want to know how many full loaves can I get. So I need to divide 15.75 by my 1 1/4. And honestly, what I want to do is I want to change this into a decimal, right? So I'm just going to change this into 1.25. So let's look at long division. You could also change both into mixed numbers or improper fractions, but you end up having to divide to change it back into decimals anyways. So we have 2 digits behind the decimal in our divisor, 1.25. So I want to multiply both of these by 100 to get that decimal out of there. So I'm just going to treat it like 125 into 1575. So that's going to give me the exact same answer. 125 goes into 157 once. Okay, so that's going to get me 3, 2, 5. I can go into this twice. 253 would be 375. And that's just going to be too much. So that's going to leave me with 75. All right, and if I wanted to, I could go ahead and finish this out, but remember, I don't really need to. So this is going to be 6, and that's going to be 125 times 6. But I don't really need to because I'm not interested in 0.6. How many full loaves of bread can I make? 12. I can make 12.6, but that 0.6 doesn't get me anything. Okay, so I'm going to make 12 loaves. Now, each loaf costs 80 cents to make and sells for 250. What's the profit? Okay, so profit equals the sale price minus the cost. Okay, so I'm going to have 12 loaves times my sale price of 250, 2.5, minus the cost of 12 loaves times 80 cents each. So that's how I'm going to get my profit. So let's multiply 12 times 250 each. That's going to be 10. And that's 6. And that's going to be 24. So I'm going to change that to have one decimal since I've got one decimal in one digit behind the decimal in my factor. So that's 30 bucks. All right, so I sold it for 30 bucks, but it cost me, let's multiply 12 times 0.8. That's going to be 96, but it's 960. $9.60 to actually make. So my profit, so we'll say the profit will be, and then let's just subtract 30 minus 960. So 30 minus 10, that's almost 10, is going to be 20, and then we're 40 cents away, so it's going to be $20.40. So if you are interested in exploring the 6.3E readiness practice for the intermediate or proficient version, or the readiness practice resource limit than any other standard, you can find those by using the link in the video description.